Kern Agrawal, Director, Carbon Loops. Carbon Loop specializes in biogas production from a range of organic waste, from residential, commercial, and institutional facilities. Their anaerobic digesters are customized for decentralized and on-site biogas production and use. Carbon Loops has installed its digesters at many commercial facilities, municipalities, and educational institutions. In fact, you don't have to go far from here to find two of the installations, one at Stella and another at Loyola. Kern Agrawal, Carbon Loops.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Narsi, for having me. And it's really, a privilege to be here at C3. So when I was asked by Narsi, I think almost a month ago, to be a part of this event, so I was taking it a little easy, startup workshops. So there's going to be a lot of college students, school students. Okay, we are already, used to sharing our story and wowing them. But today, Narsi, you already put me in a spot because there are quite a lot of, senior startups or, senior participants here.
You're perhaps the youngest.
Okay, 36, anybody? Okay, so I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about three things. The first is, why did I choose entrepreneurship? Why did I choose climate? And I will wind up by saying what is the problem that we are addressing in climate and our solution that we are providing. So, yeah, coming straight to the point, why did I choose entrepreneurship? So I was born and brought up in Chennai and did my school, college, BCom in New College, MBA from Loyola. So my entire life till I graduated from MBA was, within this 10-kilometer radius of Chennai city. So I've never been outside of Chennai and don't know anything apart from a proper, school, college, probably a movie or a mall, beach, of course, Chennai. So this was my entire life. And I come from a business background. My dad was a diamond merchant and importer and exporter of gemstones and diamonds. So after I graduated from college, one thing what I was sure is I did not want to join my dad's business. I wanted to start up something on my own. So I applied in a few jobs along with my college classmates, got a job in Standard Chartered Bank and started working there. So I spent about 3 years and very, very frequently my dad, he will keep teasing me as to how I'm going and taking an employment being from a business background. Just to give you an example, one day he called me and he said, what is your monthly salary? What is your annual salary? And so per day, this is what you'll be making, right? Made this much of money and per month we made this much of money. So per day we made this much of money. And then he just looked at me and gave a sarcastic smile, to say that whatever you are earning, even if you work for 10 years, we made it in a day. So why are you doing this?
So now we know how you guys do accounting.
So yeah, that was how my dad kept teasing me as to why I shouldn't be an employee and rather be an employer. So that was, I think, my dad is one of the reasons why I chose entrepreneurship. I did not want to work for him at that point of time. But today I've been in entrepreneurship for 10 years now, and if I look back, I think the reason why I really choose entrepreneurship is because I just don't want to work for somebody else. I want to work for myself. And I think this is extremely important because, like Pillai sir was saying, why he chose entrepreneurship was purpose. Watson sir was saying that why he chose Kasavida Kasada Mukhya, he put it very nicely. For me, I think, I really couldn't work for somebody else, wanted to work for myself. So that was one reason why I chose entrepreneurship. The second thing is why climate. Now, after we graduated my MBA, me and my wife, we were working with Standard Chartered Bank. And in one of the rural retreats, we spent a couple of days, in a rural setting, about 100 kilometers from Chennai. So that was the first time I had gone outside of Chennai city into a rural village. And it was a whole new world for me. So we spent 2 days there. The idea was to understand what farmers do, understand the lifestyle, and how do they, what is their regular routine look like. So at the end of 2 days, I realized, both of us, my wife and I, both of us realized something. One is the people who feed us many a day sleep hungry because for some reason there could be a flood or heavy rain and their entire crop could be washed out and they will be having huge losses, don't know how to repay the money that they borrowed. So many a time, the people who feed us sleep hungry. So that was one thing that we picked up. The second thing what we picked up was these guys literally have a go with chemical pesticides and fertilizers. There's absolutely no control. So they would do anything to save their crop and just get it to the market. For a simple thing like you say, South Indians were used to sirikira, arakira, molakira, which grows in about, 20 to 30 days. And we've literally seen them, till the last day it's harvested, they keep spraying it. And this is what, we look at it fresh, without holes. When we go to supermarkets, Honeybee, we pick up the one which has no spots or holes. Unfortunately, those are the most loaded with pesticides. So these were the two things that we picked up, and we came back and we said, what can we do about it? I'm a city guy coming from a business background, not very much keen. My wife is the opposite. She's been with nature, worked with nature, had a garden all throughout her life. Wouldn't even, kill a cockroach. That sort of a person she is. So both of us complemented each other, and we started our first venture, the Urban Farmers, where the idea was to grow basic greens and vegetables on city roofs and then supply it to the city itself, reducing food miles, fertilizers, blah, blah, blah. So we started in the year 2013, and by 2014 mid, there was a huge water crisis in Chennai. And when we started, fresh out of MBA, we put everything in an Excel. In 1 square feet, we will put one Vendaka seed. Each day, one Vendaka plant will give us one Vendaka, multiplied by the number of square feet, what is the weight. And then we started the Urban Farmers like that. 1 year down the line, like they say, when you're a boxer, you get punched in the nose, then you know the reality of we got punched in the nose. A huge water problem in Chennai, and the Excel didn't really make sense. So the first lesson that I learned the hard way is, always validate your assumptions. So when we start our business, I don't see any young faces here, but when we start something, we would very quickly go to an Excel, PPT, put a business plan, but we don't really test all our assumptions. We make quite a few assumptions when we start our business. So that was our first learning that we learned the hard way. Now coming to the final point that I wanted to speak about, why climate change, what is the problem and the solution that we are providing in climate space. So we started our second company, Carbon Loops, in the year 2017. This is, we just completed a little over 5 years and closing the 6th year. So Carbon Loops is basically a waste to renewable energy company. So we collect organic waste, convert it into renewable energy, which is cooking gas, electricity, or CNG fuel. And we work with different stakeholders, institutions, corporates, and right now our main focus is government. So if you look at the problem, I would like to talk about, mention two things. One is India has the largest cattle population in the world. So cattle, cows, as we know, they produce cow dung, which as they decompose over a point of time generates methane. And methane and carbon dioxide is a huge greenhouse gas polluter. And India, we have the world's largest cattle population. So on one hand, we can proudly say that we are generating the world's largest milk in the, India is the world's largest milk producer, we have the world's largest cattle population. But on the other hand, it's generating quite a lot of methane, which is again polluting our atmosphere. So when we looked at it, we said, from a cow, if you take the entire life cycle of a cow, an average Indian cow, a farmer would make about 1.5 lakhs for the entire life cycle of a cow. That's how much the economic value of a cow is. But the dung that it produces every single day is usually collected on the sidewalks of the villages, accumulated for about 6 to 9 months, just before monsoons, they would almost sell it off for a song to the larger landholders. So this is predominantly the practice in India with respect to cow dung. And we thought, why not use this methane, which is an excellent source of renewable energy, can be converted, and put more money in the hands of the farmers. So that was, the question that we were looking at. Again, the second component in this is humans. I think India is on track to become again the world's largest population. Already. More than half of our population is into agriculture. So more than half of our population is feeding the remaining of us. Now, when we talk about food, when the food is produced on the farms itself, there's so much of greenhouse gases in terms of fertilizers, producing it, supplying it, applying it. There's so much of pesticides that is being used. And after they harvest the crop, there is again wastage generated at the farm gate. When the produce comes to a wholesale mandi or a Coimbatore market, again there's wastage there. From there it comes to our retail shops, it comes to our houses, our offices, our hotels. At every stage there is some amount of organic waste, and there are many reports, but I generally don't go by any report because it's really hard to ascertain the actual amount of waste and the impact. But there's tremendous amount of waste at each of these levels. So what the idea of carbon loops is, how can we use this organic waste which is currently lying around on the sidewalks of villages or polluting our Perangudi, Kodingur dump yard, and any vacant spot. I generally jokingly say, especially in a place like Chennai, if there is a vacant plot which has not yet been constructed in the city, it becomes a dump yard. People just start throwing their garbage. So what we are looking at is, how do we utilize this organic waste, convert it into methane, and generate revenue out of it. So that is the problem that we are looking at in the climate space. So we've developed, of course, biogas and anaerobic digestion has been in India for more than 100 years. So there's nothing new, or there's no rocket science to it. In fact, there is a first mention of gobar gas in India in some 1895. So it's been there for 100 years. When we started Carbon Loops, what we did is we identified 50 successful gobar gas plants across India. We identified 50 gobar gas plants that have failed in India, and we tried to see why are they succeeding, why are they failing. Put down a small, developed a slight tweaks here and there to make these failed ones succeed. And the other thing is, from the day one, we wanted to give this model, in rural India. So we wanted to develop this model absolutely easy to use. A layman without any skill should be able to operate. And as we are right now, today we have implemented this project in 14 districts and 2 institutions, and we work with a corporate which collects waste from 65 other companies, SEZ in Chengalpet. So this is where we have come so far. And I really like to thank Narasimhan, because, I think I'm close to my time limit. Yesterday, he's been asking me to send me my short version, and I was hoping, I just read through the questions 2-3 times. He shared different versions, so I was hoping to cover it. I hope I have. But thank you so much again. I think I've given a lot of bullshit in the last 8 minutes, spoken a lot.
That can be used to produce biogas.
Yeah. So thank you so much again to Narasimhan and C3 for this opportunity.
You have done a good job. Very good. I mean, I enjoyed it, definitely. So, Kern, a very quick question. I know these guys have a lot many more for you. You come from a business family, and you told us in great detail how you guys do accounting. Yeah, we all learned a lot. That's something we are going to take. But you also said the uselessness of Excel in your first venture. How come, having business blood in you, and that too diamond business blood, you chose a segment which actually is doing pretty poorly? The biogas sector, the waste to energy sector, is one of the worst sectors for entrepreneurs to choose. That's what you have learned in the last 10 years. How come a guy with such business brains chose a sector? Because remember, you didn't do it for a cause. You didn't do it for a purpose. You did it because you wanted to be on your own, and you had business blood, but you seem to have chosen the wrong area.
So I think you put me in a spot, but what came to my mind, Narsi, is Validate your assumptions was something that I would never forget. Another thing that I remember in my entrepreneurship journey is, always make your customer successful and your customer look happy. So currently, our long-term vision is the farmer is our customer. So if you look at a farming family, they buy LPG, pay money, and the cash flow goes out. And also their cow dung is an underutilized resource that they have in their hands. So what we are trying to do in Carbon Loops is make this customer profitable, successful. So can he save this 1,000 rupees that he's paying for LPG per month? With this 1,000 rupees, can he use it for his other livelihood expenses? So that is our ultimate goal. So I don't know.
It's not an easy question to answer.
Thank you. I'll think about.
Thank you. But a very good story. We all enjoyed it. Thank you.